Alright everybody, we're here at the city of St. Augustine. The building right here in front of us is the visitor center. To our left here, this building is the public parking. It's $12 to park, and that is per entry. So if you park, make sure that you're going to be there all day, because if you want to leave, come back, you're going to have to pay another $12. This structure right here in front of us is called the Cubo line. It is a part of the old St. Augustine city fortifications. This is a reconstruction, of course. Following the 1702 English siege of St. Augustine, the Spanish began construction of a defensive system to protect the Presidio. The Cubo line, built in 1704 to safeguard the town's northern sector, was the first line of defense the Spanish raised. In the early 18th century, the Spanish in Florida used the medieval term cubo to describe rounded, pointed, or square bastions built into the defensive walls. The Cubo line derived its name from 3 cubos built into its wall. Throughout the 18th and early 19th centuries, the Spanish in Florida apply the term reducto or redoubt to cubos built into the defensive walls. Los Floridanos, Florida's first European families, 1565 to 1763. Los Floridanos referred to the children born to the Spanish settlers of St. Augustine during the first Spanish period. Translated, it means the Floridians, and record of this title can be found in many Spanish government documents, including the Spanish censuses of the time. In 1565, Pedro Menendez de Aviles, along with 600 soldiers and colonists, arrived in La Florida to explore and colonize for Spain. The settlers who arrived during the first Spanish period, whose last names included Aguilar, Diaz, Rodriguez, Sanchez, and Solana, began their new lives in the Presidio de San Augustine, enduring the Florida elements, diseases, fires, and attacks by pirates, French, English, and Native Americans. Their efforts established St. Augustine as the first continuously occupied European city in the United States. In 1763, Spain ceded the Florida colony to Britain after the 7 Years' War, ending the first Spanish period. The majority of the Spanish St. Augustine residents, approximately 3,100, relocated to Cuba. Only a few Los Floridanos remained in St. Augustine to handle unsold property and settle affairs. 2 of these were Manuel Solana and Francisco Sanchez. Their descendants still reside in St. Augustine. St. Augustine is a very popular tourist destination. You'll see they have these little ride-along trolleys. There's a couple of different ones that'll take you on a tour and show you the sights around the town. One of the many shopping areas here that you'll find scattered around the historic St. Augustine city center. I was telling about the trolley. This is the little spot right here where you can come and book the trolley. They also have the other attractions here. As you can see, the Fountain of Youth package, Ghost and Gravestones. It's a pretty cool way to see the town. The ghost tour that they do after dark is really cool. I've gone on that a couple of different times. The the tour guide that does that is usually pretty good, pretty knowledgeable. But here we are. We're at the beginning of St. George's Street, right there in front of us. That is the old city gate. The street here, St. George, is a pedestrian-only street, and it's pretty popular. Right now, it's not as busy as it normally is. It's right before noon, and Florida in the middle of the summer can be pretty hot at noon, so a lot of people are inside. But as you can see, there's still quite a lot of people here. There's plenty of different things to see. As you can see, the oldest wood schoolhouse in the USA. Don't know whether that's accurate or not, but that's what they build themselves. And of course, you have to pay to go inside. It's a tourist attraction. We're going to go down this little side arcade of professional artisans and craftsmen. Some paintings, some wood carving. You get your picture taken, the old-timey pictures. Oh wow. I'm not sure if that's a painting or if that is a photograph. That's really cool. Your photo put on a piece of wood. The Colonial Quarter here. You see the sign here? The Colonial Quarter is a recreation of what the area would have been like during the colonial period. It's actually really cool. I'm not going to go there today, but we might come by there again another day. Frozen bananas. St. Photios Greek Orthodox National Shrine. It was built 1749 and restored in 1979. This shrine is dedicated to the memory of the 400 Greeks who arrived in St. Augustine in 1768, took on fresh supplies, and journeyed south to help settle the colony of New Smyrna, Florida. After 10 difficult years, the survivors of that colony sought refuge in St. Augustine, where they gathered in the Avero House for worship. These pioneers comprised the first permanent settlement of Greeks on this continent. This house is listed in the National Register of Historic Places. This building here to our right, this is the Columbia Restaurant. It's been here since 1905. It's supposed to be the oldest restaurant, continuously operating restaurant in Florida. It's actually a really good restaurant. If you're here in St. Augustine, definitely give them a try. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you have any questions or comments, feel free to put them down below or send me a message.